Welcome to the Hormone Hub, your go-to source for the conversations every woman in her 40s and 50s needs to have. I'm your host, Kylie Pinwell, your nutritionist helping you navigate your way through perimenopause, menopause and beyond so you can say goodbye to the endless fatigue, unexplained weight gain, hot flushes, PMS, mood changes and more that come on this hormonal roller coaster. If you missed the memo or think this is only for women of a certain age, ladies, it's time to think again. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of my latest episodes, which are released every week. Share it with your friends, your sweaty sisters. The more we talk, the more we help each other. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hormone Hub. It is your host, Kylie Pinwell here, and today we are going to jump in and talk about memory loss, brain fog, menopause, what it means, and why it is very unlikely that you actually have dementia. Okay, so when we are, going through all these hormonal changes, I hear it quite a lot, and women sort of say, "Oh my God, I think I've got dementia." Now, just because we can't remember where we put our car keys, just because we can't remember why we walked into the kitchen, just because we sit down in front of the computer and look at what we were doing and all our tabs are open and we can't remember exactly what we're doing, it doesn't mean that we have dementia, okay? So it can be a scary situation to be in. For me, I know that, I'll be recording a podcast and then all of a sudden I'll lose my words. So when you hear very big pauses from me, it's likely that my brain has gone blank and I've forgotten what I was saying. But I have recently read an amazing book by Dr. Nicola Gates, and she wrote a book called A Brain for Life. And she's a neuropsychologist and had a look at the brain hormone connections. Now, this is going to be reassuring for a lot of us out there, myself included. My grandmother had dementia, and it really isn't a pathway that I want to go down. And, I've had moments where I've thought, oh my God, has it started already? All right, so first up, I just want to sort of clarify. So dementia, or what they call it now, neurocognitive disorder, is, the most common form of dementia is Alzheimer's, okay? And Alzheimer's counts for about 70% of all cases. Now, what happens when your brain has dementia or has Alzheimer's is they do an MRI and they're looking for plaque on your brain. They're looking for tangles in your brain connectors, okay? Now, that is not what's going on in menopause. So I just wanted to sort of, first up say that dementia is it's a neuropathological condition. It's a disease state and it's got actual physical problems in the brain. Okay. Now, when we're going through menopause and perimenopause, this is our brain adjusting to less estrogen. Okay. So there's no plaque, going on in our brain. There's no tangles going up in our little brain connectors. Okay. It's about changes in hormones. Okay, so I just wanted to sort of throw it out there. Now, there's plenty of reasons why we forget things, okay? And definitely in menopause with that drop in estrogen, there can be a slowing down of memory retrieval, okay? But it's also important to know it's not just menopause, okay? There's a lot going on. And, women often feel, if we think about it, when we're stressed or when we're unhappy or when we've just got too much going on in our life, it can make us forgetful, okay? And then sometimes, because, we're in the age of Dr. Google and, we can access all this great information, it can lead us to going, straight to worst case scenario, all right? So if we're under stress, we can't remember things, we Google it and, bang, we've diagnosed ourselves with dementia. Okay. Now, you know what? Instead, what we need to do if we feel like we're getting forgetful is go, you know what? I've actually got a lot on my plate. I need to give myself some slack and I need to relax a bit. And, we all know that the more stressed we get about things, it makes sense, right, that our memory performance would go down. So I think it's important to know also that as long with dementia being, sort of a disease state in the brain, with the plaque, with the tangles, also too, only 5% of all sort of dementia diagnoses are under the age of 65. So we're in the wrong age bracket. Okay. If we were over 65, over 70, over 80, it's a different conversation. But, for the majority, for 95%, we're in the wrong age group. Okay. So just sort of have that as a bit of reassurance that things actually are probably okay. Okay, so one's a normal process, that transition through menopause, that change in estrogen, and the other is a disease process. Okay, so let's have a look at what else is going on in your life that could be contributing to the sense that you're forgetting. Okay, so one thing, is if we're not sleeping well and we're already tired, it's going to be harder for us to retrieve those memories. All right. So they've done, lots of studies. And one of the studies that Nicola Gates looked at was, in the workplace. And they had a look, and women, there was actually no change in their level of cognitive function or their capacity to work, on different projects. Okay. So, and they did all these neuroscience tests. And when, they sort of did that, and when they're saying there's no change, it's not to dismiss anyone's experience. It's not to invalidate anyone's experience. Certainly, not in your head, but, maybe it's because of other reasons. Maybe it's because we are more tired. Maybe it is because, and this is a big one, there's a loss of confidence going on. Okay, so I think that's a big one to kind of be aware of. And, our actual ability to do things hasn't changed, but our confidence in our ability has changed. And I think that's a really good or an important distinction between, menopause, brain fog and memory loss and dementia. Okay, so hopefully you're all sort of thinking, okay, all right, it's not me, it's my hormones. Okay, but definitely, as our brain adjusts to lower levels of estrogen, there is a slowing down of that memory retrieval, but also be aware that, we've got a lot of other stuff going on. So I hope this is sort of reassuring a little bit. Okay, now a couple of caveats is, they don't actually have a lot of research on women's brains, and hormonal changes and how estrogen impacts our brains. They haven't even done the research on female rats because, fluctuating hormones, too hard. So even the rats are too hard. So you can just imagine, how much research has been done on actual women. And it's, the research that is coming out, it is exciting because it's new, because we've never had this before, but it's only coming out now. So, they don't have a long history of it. So, it's exciting that they're actually doing it. Now, what they're having a look at, the impact of estrogen and our brains is they're sort of having a look at, estrogen as also has neurotransmitter functions. So all of our happy mood hormones, so all of our serotonin, our endorphins, our oxytocin is all sort of, estrogen is a big part of regulating that. And also with our memory and our recall. So, and remember, this is all super, super new, research. It's really evolving as we speak. So, reading books, obviously I haven't read the research, but I'm relying on the fact that Dr. Gates has read the research. And, one thing that was sort of looking at is why memory process and learning was so impacted by menopause. And, women do feel forgetful, or they feel like they're having trouble remembering things. But, is it the change in hormones that impacts our memory process and learning? Now, one thing that they're looking at is, also during pregnancy. So if you have been pregnant or, have had a friend or family member pregnant, or maybe you've heard the term baby brain, again, this was a big time in our life when we had that fluctuation in estrogen and, we forgot things when we were pregnant. And it was just written off as baby brain. So yeah, so it's good to kind of like know that they're making that connection. And again, it's not so much that we're forgetting, it's just, we have to just work a little bit harder at memory retrieving. But also remember, we're multitasking all the time. We're, toggling between different activities and different tasks. So, women in general, we've been told that we can multitask. We've been told that we can do it all. Been told that we can do all these things. But actually, is it the best thing for our brain? Okay, so that's what they're looking at, during menopause. And, they're also sort of seeing that, estrogen is sort of like a buffer between our brain and our memories that we're adjusting. It's an adjustment period.
This Hormone Hub episode is sponsored by The Well-Balanced Woman. If you've been on a hormonal roller coaster, feeling bloated, your digestion isn't the best, and you're sick and tired of feeling lethargic with your weight creeping up, then this is the right program for you. I'm right there with you across the 12 weeks to hold your hand, and I'll give you a loving kick up the bum if you need it. The Well-Balanced Woman is your personalised 4-phase program created to help you regain your energy, balance your hormones and fire up your metabolism so you get the results you're after. The link with all the details is on our show notes or over at kyliepinwell.com/wellbalancedwoman.
Okay, so, the good thing is, estrogen actually, and one thing that they're looking at is estrogen has a positive sort of impact, so it can help prevent the formation of the plaques that happen, during dementia. So that's a good thing. And then, they're looking at the benefits of HRT and, sort of like a estrogen hormone therapy can actually help in, prevent dementia. But again, the research is really new and, there's still a lot of things that they have to look at. So, how long do we stay on HRT for? Does it have is there a benefit to being on it long term, or they don't know yet. So again, this is something that we're going to have the benefit of the research that's coming out now, whereas our mothers wouldn't have had that. So, and the other thing that they looked at, which was really interesting, I thought, was, once we've been through menopause and our hormones have settled down, we're not having those big fluctuations, was our brain waves become very similar to men because we don't have, that up and down kind of the fluctuations in our hormones that our brain would have had. So, when we kind of come through the other side of menopause, our brains are very much on and I know similar pathway to men isn't the right word, but it's, I guess, the hormonal consistency is there. So even though there is, and they do know that there's differences between male and female brains, it's those hormones that drive a lot of those differentiations. And then post-menopause, they come back and, are even again. So, yeah, so I just wanted to sort of put that out there. But some of the I guess the protective things post-menopause, also too, like it's good to know that our cardiovascular risks become the same post-menopause. Our osteoporosis, risks become, very similar to men as well. So, so we lose some of the benefits post-menopause, but there are also some positives. And so it's good to know that, like perimenopause, menopause, it's a transition experience. So your brain is adjusting to different levels of hormones. And then on the other side of this, your brain won't have the fluctuations, your moods and even emotions will be more steady as well. For some women who suffer migraines, those migraines become less post-menopause as well because you don't have those fluctuations in hormones. Okay, so short and sweet today. And yeah, hopefully this sort of reassures you that, you are not going crazy. You are not necessarily going into early dementia. It is a normal sort of transition as your memory recall, just adjust to that change in hormone levels. And also good to know that we're busy. We've got a lot going on. So ladies, for the love of all things, please be kind to yourself. Give yourself some slack. It's okay to relax. It's okay to take a breather. All right. Well, I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you for taking the time to listen today. You can head on over to the show notes at kyliepinwell.com/podcast, where you'll find all the links, and I have a little bonus surprise waiting for you. Before we go, it would mean the world to me if you head on over to your favourite podcasts channel, subscribe and leave a review. Make sure to screenshot it, DM it to me so I can thank you personally. Then stay tuned for next week's episode. Can't wait to see you there.